We're returning to a series from a year ago this time with Sengoku 2. If you watched the first Sengoku video, you'll know that I didn't care for it and found it dull. But the series still has 2 more games left to turn me around, including this one. We've got another demonic warlord out for world domination, but his main method will be time travel. A priestess sends the ninja and cowboy from the first game out to deal with it, sending them to the 1500s to deal with the warlord's forces. Then the cowboy gets lost in a time warp or something because I'm playing this alone and he's the player 2 character. I start the game and the priestess gives me the game's transformations before I walk off. I see that this game's villain also has a floating castle, but his has giant dragon heads coming out of it. When I drop to a lower roof, one gives me an up close view as it smashes the roof away and makes me fall to the ground. These men with swords are my first enemy. The gameplay is very similar to the first, still being a side-scrolling beat-em-up where I have the ability to transform. The ninja transformation returns, looking like the most 90s ninja I've ever seen. It plays much better than the original version as I can just move normally instead of doing flips everywhere. But kicking and elbowing guys in the face isn't as satisfying as cutting them in half like my default form. I keep advancing, seeing women being chased off and dragons smashing up the background. Random portals taking me in and out of levels are still around, and after I deal with the first wave, I get dragged to this bridge to fight these hatted men throwing chains. I grab a blue orb here that allows me to shoot beams from my sword attacks. After dealing with a few of those, I get dropped back off where I was taken from. My next new opponent is this heavily armoured guy with a katana, but he doesn't take many hits to kill either. I next try my fox transformation. It's pretty much the same as it was in the first game, but gains this big sound wave attack. I once again prefer my normal state thanks to the bad range on the other attacks and just being weaker. The later enemy drops a yellow orb, which releases a big lightning storm that covers almost the entire screen. After a few more, I get dragged into another portal. This one contains a fight against an incredibly tall guy and a woman who only wears one shoe for some reason. Here I try my last transformation. Replacing the samurai from the first game is the Tengu. It fights with a staff and has longer range than the normal form. It's my favourite of the 3 transformations, but I still just prefer my normal state. The girl tries a few kicks, but then she gets stuck in a loop of jumping into my attacks until she's dead. The guy also has kicks, but with much longer range, though he also doesn't last too long. Back to the main level and fighting more of the same, with another of the big guys I just killed already. The weapon power-up when you're a ninja becomes throwing out a pair of giant shuriken. Eventually I reach the end of the screen and take on the dragon, fighting on its back. The boss is this man hiding a giant sword. He gets a few cussing, but he doesn't last long thanks to my fox form rapid punch in his face a lot. He transforms into a gold demon who stands back throwing red balls at me. It can be tough to get in close with his sword's range, but I can hit the balls back at him for some damage. Eventually the guy is cut clean in half and I finish the first level. The warlord next travels to the 1940s. He brags about how nobody will be able to stop him. Taking part in the Second World War, a truck pulls up and drops several gunmen into my sword slashers, but enemies from the first stage return too. Then comes a huge guy doing windmills with his axe. 2 staff hits deal with him. A power-up to the Tengu form will swap the staff for a fan that blows fireballs. I keep moving forward, taking on soldiers, axemen and big samurais until the next portal grabs me. There's a floating demon head and a huge skeleton rising from the water behind me. I catch the head while also attacking the skeleton spoon, the head not taking long to be destroyed. I keep hitting the spoon while it keeps whacking me with it until it gets too much and the demon dies from a broken spoon. Apart from old enemies in new colours, the next stretch contains nothing new until this Nasa guy I saw standing next to the warlord in the cutscene shows up. He swings a rapier but gets a couple tiny scratches from me and runs off. The next portal appears and drops me on a horse. A lot of samurais come at me one at a time and all that gets them is all their heads cutting off. Chop off enough samurai heads to make the portal drop me off on a plane. The one-shoed woman from the first level has multiplied and become a regular enemy now. Even the first level boss's first phase has been demoted to the role of slightly stronger enemy. And all the while getting planes fighting in the background, tricking me into thinking I can hit them too. A lot of repeat enemies, especially the guys in the hats who use chains. At the end I get teleported to this screen where this woman rides in on a big red beast. She lets the beast do the fighting first, so I turn into a dog myself. He likes to hang back and spit electric balls at me. A few doggy punches take it down and the woman shows her demonic form and fights me next. She has some expected claws and kicks, but then also a rocket punch. After enough hits she'll then start spinning around to try and hit me with her tails. I keep getting hits in between spins and she eventually explodes into several foxes, completing the second level. To the 1990s next. The warlord gets off his seat to threaten to kill me. My appearance scares off a load of identical shopping families before the usual enemies appear. I get a new enemy in this staff wielder, whose skeleton arrives on screen a few seconds before the rest of him. He doesn't even get to fit all of himself on screen before I kill him. A few more waves later, mainly the hatted enemies, the portal takes me away to fight a green palette swap of the level 1 boss. The fight is exactly the same and I get dropped off back in the streets to scare off more people. As I fight on, the really tall guy makes a few more returns. After taking out more, another portal appears and puts me back on a horse. All the masks zooming by in the background make it really hard for my eyes to focus on anything. A lot of giant masks try bumping into me, but I just cut them all in half. A bit of that and I'm back on the streets. This next wave is the last of the level, with a higher percentage of it than normal being the larger enemies. At the end I get teleported to this boat where the boss appears, a demon with a katana. This one is more acrobatic, flipping around the place, but he's easy enough to hit. Sometimes he'll jump onto the boat in the back to escape damage for a bit, but it doesn't do him much good. He calls upon the help of the water dragon who sends him flying and takes his place. It takes it a while to do anything, as dressing as a ninja and punching the air below its chin both confuses and hurts it. And by a while, I mean it never does. All the air punching takes it down before it can act. I've really angered the warlord now, who demands my presence, so I get beamed over to his castle. This is the 4th and final level. The flaming skulls are new but get killed in one hit. The regulars still swarm the stage though. After this wave, the next portal drops me in front of the painting of a dragon and has me taking out fish with giant feet. Quite violent too, cut down the middle and showing off their insides. After enough of those, an even bigger fish appears. This one tries to crush me with spinning jumps, but it doesn't take many hits to kill. Dropped back off at the castle, and now the one-shoed women have now decided to use swords. Not that it helps them. Eventually I reach this gate and have pallet swaps of the level 2 boss's dog show up. Taking out this wave has the gate open and out comes a chubby dragon. It charges through me to the other side of the screen and can breathe fire, but I catch it against the wall and keep swinging until its head comes off. Not going through the gate, but continuing along this path. After a long wave of nearly everything in the game, the next portal takes me and puts me back on the horse, taking on a lot of samurais again as weird pictures of drummers flash in the background. After teleporting back, fight off more skulls to get to this lift and ride it up while taking out even more. I have one more wave of samurais before I meet that Nazi guy again. He fights the same way he did before, but without the part where he runs away, so I take him down in no time. He tries crawling away, but the warlord shows up to take me on himself. He uses a katana, but here I seem to get in some kind of groove where I can keep hitting him and interrupting nearly all of his movements. He gets a couple hits in, but he's defeated even faster. He also tries to crawl away, but this gigantic demon head appears and turns the warlord and the Nazi into samurai attached to the head from the waist down by the tentacles. They can only slash, and they get a couple hits on me before I take them both out at the same time. The head then fights using his dragon tongue. It spits out electric walls, bunches of bombs and little tornadoes. I just stand there slashing, only losing one life before I take it down too. I'm not trying to make the boss fight sound that short, but they were all over faster than I was expecting. Another flying castle that looks like the one from the first game appears and wipes out this one, and then get a thanks from the priestess and sent home. So I still wasn't really a fan of Sengoku 2, but I will say that it improved over the original in every way. The transformations were better, the normal base character was better, and the presentation was especially better. But it just still didn't do much for me. It just passed by with me mashing through a very limited selection of the enemy's roster before it was just over without making an impression. That's all I can say about it. We're 2 games into this 3-game series and I liked neither of them. Maybe that 3rd game can get me to appreciate the series a little if I ever get to it.